Nothing. All that for nothing. The Democrats wouldn't come to the table for 40 days because of the election in Virginia that they wanted to win. And I hope all of you that had to work, were forced to work in some cases, but yet we're not getting paid. Remember that you were just pawns in the agenda of the Democrats for all the benefits that they supposedly were going to earn for you guys, for the country. They got nothing. That's what the Democrats got. We all knew that this was garbage from the beginning. They had no leverage. All they wanted was to get the Virginia governor and attorney general in. And they knew they were unpopular. At least the attorney general was. And so they had to manufacture a crisis. Well, they got what they wanted. Welcome to Layman's Lingo. There's a lot of very interesting things that have happened over the weekend, but that was the biggest one, obviously, is the shutdown is supposedly finished, although the shutdown will still linger for a little bit until it actually gets settled. But they have come to some sort of agreement. An agreement, by the way, that Thune had already been promising from like 2 weeks ago. The concessions that he gave so far, which is just basically that they'll sit down and have a discussion or a vote on something that they wanted to. That's not even the worst part of the whole thing. I saw the saddest story over the weekend, and that was that a World War II veteran in England said that it was not worth what him and his brothers in arms did during their fight for freedom during World War II because of all the junk that is taking over right now. I can imagine someone going to the fight in a war, as a war to end all wars, right? We had 2 of them, 1 and 2. Seeing all your friends around you, I don't know, classmates, whoever else, dying to fight against the worst evil ever. And then just to come home and in your old age see your entire country be ruined and gone. That's what this over 100-year-old man is saying. He sees what the lefties in his country are doing to destroy it. And he regrets ever going to war. And he regrets all of his friends that died in that war because it was for nothing. The crazy people were going to take over in the end eventually. I can't imagine what that's like. Going to war, and a lot of these people were forced to go to war. And they sacrificed everything. Some of them sacrificed their lives, obviously, right? But they're sacrificing at home. They're sacrificing what their families are having to go through while they're out there fighting in these wars to help keep their countries free from the fascism of Europe and the Nazism. All to see the garbage that's coming in right now and how crushing that was to him. I don't know. I don't know how you deal with that kind of stuff. On a different note, there was a lady that was on TikTok, and I'm not going to name her because I don't want to give her any extra views. But there's a lady on TikTok who thought it was a good idea, since she's atheist, to test how good Christians are and Christian churches are by calling a bunch of churches. I think it was like 32 churches in the area or across America, I think. And she would call and pretend to be a mother with a child that needs food, a baby, an infant, right? And say that the infant hadn't had food for a day and that she needs formula, and to see their reactions. And some of them didn't react fast enough for her. Or some of them referred her to places where they can help. And in her mind, this was Christians and churches failing across the America because they don't love people enough. The problem is, what she doesn't understand is there are so many regulations with that kind of thing. So many crippling things enforced by governments and so on with dealing with food and especially formula for babies, that a lot of these churches are just not set up for that kind of thing. Believe me, Christians would love to help someone out. Pretending because they didn't get back to you fast enough, or that they referred you to a place in their area that really does help, was unchristian, is ignorant. It's so dishonest when you know that these are the very people who you'd want to have if you had to rely upon someone in the last minute, because they have morals and ethics and concern for you and your soul. But you have to get your videos, right? You have to get the gotcha moment on the poor Christian ladies that are probably in some church that doesn't have enough money to keep a staff going, and so you called some secretary who's not ready for you to call and ask those kind of questions. But I've been in churches where they have food pantries and those kind of things and food banks. And do you know how controlled it is? Do you know how much regulation goes into that? How much documentation that takes to do any of that information and to give out food like that? The government doesn't make it easy, let's put it that way. And a lot of churches are just not geared up or capable of doing that. If someone was to call our church that way, probably what would end up happening is we'd have to meet them at the store to do it because we couldn't legally give them that kind of thing. The dishonesty of that is horrible. On the other side of the coin is our country. We live in a country where aid from federal places and federal dollars has been so much that churches are just not doing it anymore because government's taken over. Government takes over and then they put in regulations to prevent us from doing stuff. What are you supposed to do? And yes, I understand it's supposed to be the churches that are supposed to be doing it. I understand that. But in this world where everything's stacked against you, what are you supposed to do? You could lose your entire church over doing something like that. In some cases. $2,000 in stimulus for everybody. Is it awesome? Yeah! No, actually, no, it's not awesome. Let's pay down our debt, guys. If we have so much money that we can give everyone in America $2,000, let's pay down our debt. Let's start balancing ourselves as a country so that we don't owe more things to China. How do we not realize that? How do we not understand that we're just pushing ourselves further and further into debt and becoming more and more owing and more in debt to other countries out there who are going to call that debt in someday? Trump, get your act together. Don't promise this crap. Put it into paying off the debt. And I'm actually glad because I think Scott Besson came out. He was talking about how that's not what they're going to do. They're going to balance things out. And I'm like, thank goodness. At least someone's saying some kind of sense when it comes to money. We don't need to just throw it at people. Sorry. I mean, I would love, money. Cool. I get it. But at the same time, we don't need to do that kind of stuff. We need to take care of making sure that we are stable as a country. Now, this is a short one, I know. And I appreciate everyone watching. But we are at 72 subscribers. We're that much closer to 100 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for helping out. And please continue to support me and to spread it around as if you can. It is a blessing, and I'm really enjoying this. I like to be able to share the little bit of the news as much as I can to you guys. And it's been fun engaging with you. Even the ones that are opposed to me, it's been fun. I get to enjoy a little bit of back and forth. And I appreciate the fact that people even comment. So please, I'm asking if you like, comment, and subscribe, and please share it with those people around you. So if you like this and you think it's interesting, please share it with someone else. Help get the word out there so that we can get out to more places. Thank you so much.